In the mid-2000s, a 12-year-old Australian named Mark started developing a passion for a racing game on Game Boy Advance, Mario Kart Super Circuit. Mario Kart Super Circuit is the Mario Kart game that focuses the most on the racing aspect, with complex and deep driving mechanics strongly supported by the rankings given in the Grand Prix, which depend on various factors, primarily driving style. This naturally leads players towards the time trial mode, and, consequently, towards speedrunning. Mark finds great joy in constantly improving and beating his own times, especially since Mario Kart Super Circuit features numerous glitches that let players break races, sublimated by bold level design ideas that bring about wild races for speedrunners, such as the Rainbow Road, for instance. Shortly after, he starts replaying games he loves, like Sonic games, trying to finish levels as quickly as possible, and begins sharing all of this on YouTube under the name of Werster. This makes him one of the very first speedrunners to share his runs on YouTube, as he started in early 2009 at a time when speedrunning was relatively unknown. And then, in the early 2010s, he starts speedrunning Pokemon Red and Blue, a rather curious idea. At that time, it seemed surprising to speedrun RPGs, since they are games where randomness plays a significant role, and the pace of the game is much slower than other popular speedrunning games at that moment. However, Werster doesn't mind. He loves Pokemon games and finds interest in discovering the fastest route while speedrunning such an unpredictable game. Quickly, he completes the game in less than 2 hours and shares the video on his YouTube channel in Speed Demos Archive, the flagship speedrunning site at the time. This marks the beginning of an overwhelming domination over Pokemon games until early 2014, when Werster holds world records for Pokemon Red and Blue, Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Gold and Silver, Pokemon Crystal, Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, and Pokemon HeartGold SoulSilver, all while having several world records in other games besides Pokemon. Most of these achievements were accomplished live on his Twitch channel that he also started very early in 2011. Between his YouTube channel, where he shares world records and surprising clips from his runs, his Twitch channel, where he regularly streams, and his participating GDQ, the massive marathon that popularizes speedrunning at that time, Werster becomes an indispensable figure in the rise of speedrunning. He embodies the madness of speedrunning Pokemon games, combining surprising glitches, an unpredictable game highly influenced by randomness, and unprecedented in-game situations. Amidst the Pokemon craze that takes over the internet in the early 2010s, speedrunning Pokemon games gains popularity, bringing forth many speedrunners who will go down in history, such as Gunner Maniac, Pokeguy, Buster, and Xarion. This welcomed competition leads to a crazy era in the speedrunning of the first Pokemon games, with constantly changing world records, new tricks discovered to save time, and routes that evolve continuously. And because of this, many early speedrunners lose interest in speedrunning. It now demands too much effort and time just to achieve a decent time, especially considering the rapid evolution of strategies requiring constant adaptation. Yet, Werster keeps coming back to set world records, develop strategies, optimize the routes, and over the years, he accumulates an absurd number of world records. Some speedrunners dream of having one. Werster has dozens and dozens on a variety of different games, each played in completely different styles. Pokemon, Sonic, Octopath Traveler, WarioWare, Mario Tennis, Looney Tunes, Wario Land, Advanced Wars, Monkey Ball, Golden Sun. It's rare for speedrunners to excel in such a diverse range of games. In addition to his prominence in mainstream categories that he continuously pushes to new heights, Werster stands out by doing what no one else dares to attempt. Some of his runs go down in history due to their sheer audacity, such as the Catch 'em All run of Red and Blue, involving catching all Pokemon in the game and lasting almost 5 hours, which was considered very long at the time. Then, there's the 10-hour run of Pokemon Black and White 2, completing the entire game and winning world championships with an extensive series of battles. A 19-hour run on Pokemon Emerald, aiming to collect all gold symbols in the Battle Frontier, requiring a 100% completion of the lengthy Battle Frontier, and a whopping 34-hour run on Pokemon Stadium 2, playing through the entire game, which he eventually shortened to 25 and then 20 hours. These runs are so extraordinary that they garner attention from traditional media, earning respect for the meticulous planning and execution. Planning runs of such length is a monumental task, and when coupled with the inherent randomness of Pokemon runs, it can lead to heartbreaking moments, like critical hits ruining runs after several hours.
What? Quick claw, no!
Unexpected events occurring after 18 hours of gameplay.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
In addition to his insane runs, he continues to battle in the main categories where competition is fierce. For years, he engages with the crowd, setting new records and discovering fresh optimizations. Take, for example, this battle in Pokemon Platinum, where even years after securing the world record, he comes back to reclaim it. Beyond becoming one of the greatest speedrunners in history, Werster is also a unique streamer. He is remarkably open about his tragic past, having shared multiple times that he grew up in horrible conditions. His mother struggled with various addictions, including drugs and gambling, sometimes leaving him and his brother without proper sustenance. And in addition to that, enduring an abusive older brother made his life a living hell until he managed to leave his family as soon as he could. This tragic life journey has shaped Werster into someone special, unafraid to speak his mind, even when it may not align with what his viewers want to hear, making him a special streamer. He is exceptionally candid and honest, never shying away from engaging with other speedrunners to defend his perspectives, leading to occasional tensions or moments where he felt somewhat excluded from the community. Fortunately, these issues have subsided over time. He also holds immense respect for what he does and for his audience. He refrains from inserting ads during his runs, placing them only at the very end. He never solicits subscriptions or thanks subs or donations with alerts, striving to keep his content as clean as possible. He avoids sponsorships, a courageous choice given his popularity, foregoing potentially large sums of money each month. Despite having fewer subscribers compared to other streamers of similar size, he manages to make a living through his YouTube channel, which he fills with surprising highlights, explanations of new strategies, and most importantly, his regular world record runs, which allow him to make a living out of speedrunning. In 2022, after securing his world record on Pokemon Platinum, he dives back into Pokemon Stadium 2, attempting to break his world record under the 20-hour mark. This results in streams that sometimes last for about 20 hours. Once he successfully lowers the world record to under 20 hours, he shifts his focus back to one of his favorite games, Pokemon HeartGold and SoulSilver. While he was working on other games, his world records on Pokemon HeartGold SoulSilver were surpassed by an American speedrunner, Tucker Larat. Tucker is an exceptional Pokemon DS game speedrunner who managed to claim the world record in both main categories of HeartGold SoulSilver.
What the shit? Let's fucking go! Yes!
And in the Any Glitchless category.
Yes! Let's fucking go! Oh my god!
Which prohibits the use of glitches, as in the 4th generation Pokemon games, the bicycle can be used to perform such exploits. Werster returns to the Any category on November 14th, and in just 2 short weeks, he regains the world record with an outstanding run. This achievement is made possible by an optimization of the route he worked on extensively, saving a minute. He shatters the world record by 2 minutes, a significant accomplishment, notably due to an incredible battle against Red. And now, naturally Werster takes on the Any Glitchless category, unaware of the challenges that lie ahead. The Any Glitchless run itself is quite challenging. It involves obtaining a Cyndaquil, using it for the initial part of the battles in the game, earning enough coins in the Voltorb flip minigame at the casino to get a Dratini for HMs, and some double battles, an Abra for teleport, then winning a Master Ball from the lottery. Afterward, the player needs to awaken the legendary beasts, encounter and catch a Raikou, and utilize it for most battles. But how can one win the lottery? and find Raikou so easily? Well, that's where RNG manipulations come into play. Randomness is a concept used to describe events with unpredictable outcomes. When you roll a die, you cannot predict which face it will land on, making the outcome random. However, since randomness is an abstract concept, its programming in computers and video games is extremely complex. Therefore, what developers often do in most games is to consist of using external data to determine randomness. In older games, it was commonly the player's button presses that influenced random events. For instance, if a player has a 10% chance of freezing the opponent with Ice Beam in Pokemon Red and Blue, the game could check if the total number of buttons presses since the beginning of the game ends in a specific digit, like 5. If it does, Ice Beam would freeze the opponent. Of course, it's more intricate than this, and it doesn't work exactly like that in the game, but it gives you the general idea. In more recent games, the console's clock is often used since, as time is always changing, it introduces unpredictable events. With extensive research over the years, Pokemon HeartGold and SoulSilver speedrunners, including Werster, who has contributed significantly to these researches, have eventually figured out how randomness works in HeartGold SoulSilver. It's too complex to explain in detail, but the basic idea is that by starting at a specific time on the console on the right frame and making precise movements throughout the run, speedrunners manage to manipulate randomness in their favor. This manipulation affects various aspects, such as getting a Cyndaquil from Professor Elm with excellent individual values, which are supposed to be random and influence statistics. It also includes avoiding random encounters in the early game without using repels, easily sidestepping the movements of opposing trainers, winning the lottery for the desired Master Ball, and manipulating Raikou through the Poke Radio. Additionally, the manipulation includes obtaining the Pokerus, a virus that can infect Pokemon and doubles their stat growth. But with randomness manipulation, the run should be much simpler, right? Well, not exactly. In reality, these manipulations add a significant layer of complexity. This is why most speedrunners opt for manipulous runs, since it requires extremely precise movements throughout a substantial part of the run, which is already quite challenging. Moreover, manipulating battles whose randomness functions differently is not always feasible. This means that this run remains one of those iconic Pokemon runs with critical hits, missed attacks, and other unpredictable events. Adding to the complexity, the Pokemon HeartGold SoulSilver speedrun is unique for a Pokemon game. Firstly, there are challenging bike movements, particularly in areas like the Ice Path or Victory Road, where it's hard to avoid bonking. Additionally, the speedrun doesn't end after defeating the Pokemon League. It ends after defeating all Johto champions, the Pokemon League, the Kanto champions, and the final battle against Red. This final battle against Red is genuinely the toughest part of the run, occurring right at the end, providing a spectacular climax after more than 3 hours and 30 minutes of intense gameplay. In early December 2022, Werster takes on the challenge again. His personal best stands at 3 hours, 33 minutes, and 8 seconds. He is merely 40 seconds away from the world record, which may seem negligible in such a lengthy category. However, with the cumulative difficulty of manipulations, precise movements, and randomness in battles, Werster knows it will be challenging. The first day perfectly illustrates this. He struggles with RNG manipulations, repeatedly resetting at the beginning. Then, a promising run gets thwarted by Whitney's Attract, preventing Quilava from attacking 4 times in a row, ultimately ending a well-started run. He returns the next day, facing another setback with a Rattata using Quick Attack. Struggling with the manip, he resets repeatedly for over an hour. Finally, he starts a run, and after a dangerous but controlled battle against Whitney, he finds himself 30 seconds ahead of the world record. He maintains this lead, route after route, battle after battle, and finishes the Pokemon League with a 20-second lead over the world record. The Kanto region begins well, but in one of the mandatory double battles, something happens.
Don't do it. No!
Paralyzing Bellossom might seem minor, just a few extra lines of dialogue, but it's more than that. Paralyzing Bellossom is a time loss of more than 25 seconds due to the following sequence of events. The opposing trainer sends out Parasect alongside Blossom, who is now paralyzed. In double battles, when you make a move that hits both opposing Pokemon, the power of the move is reduced against each Pokemon. Typically, in this battle scenario, Blossom takes the hit before Parasect succumbs to the attack, and then only Parasect remains on the battlefield to take the full force attack, resulting in its death. However, due to Blossom's paralysis and its speed being divided by 4, Parasect is the first being hit by the attack, and then Blossom is hit. But since Parasect receives the attack when 2 Pokemon are on the field, the move's power is reduced, allowing Parasect to survive. This adds an extra turn to the battle, with additional dialogue boxes, resulting in a loss of 25 seconds. Werster is now behind the world record, but only by 5 seconds. Then he arrives on Brock, almost neck and neck with the world record, and this happens.
Oh my god!
In Pokemon, the damage dealt by an attack is partly random. You never deal the same amount of damage, as it varies within a range of 16 possible values. In this case, there was over an 80% chance of knocking out Kabutops in one hit, but it doesn't happen. Brock heals his Kabutops, which takes a considerable amount of time, resulting in a loss of 15 seconds. 15 seconds that he will never recover, especially with a subpar battle against Blue, finishing 26 seconds behind the world record. Nevertheless, this run is crazy because it's only his second day back in the category, and he has already beaten his personal record by over 20 seconds, coming close to snagging the world record in just 2 days. It's astonishing. Even Werster didn't see it coming.
I'm pretty surprised I got a PB. This is like my second day coming back.
At this point, everyone is thinking that once again, Werster will quickly reclaim the world record and move on to something else. Yet, the following days are far from fruitful. Most of the time, he gets stuck early in game due to failed manipulations. When he manages to progress, he faces crushing defeats in battles. A critical hit from the rival, a critical hit from Hector's Scyther, Faulkner's Pidgeotto repeatedly healing, resulting in significant time loss. The first battle against the rival goes awry, the atrocious Whitney's Miltank using Attract, preventing Quilava from attacking. There are so many things that can go wrong. The subsequent days quickly remind everyone why this speedrun is exceptionally challenging. This run can die at any point, and you cannot do anything about it. Even when everything aligns, as it did on December 19th, maintaining a high level of play for over 3.5 hours is required, and a mistake can happen very quickly.
I did it too quickly. Well, GG.
There, he mistimed the trainer skip, who turned around at the wrong moment, and a similar situation occurred in Sandra's gym, with 2 trainers quite challenging to avoid. And as the days pass, they bear a striking resemblance. Werster is there almost every day, even on Christmas and New Year's, and gets stomped on by the game.
Bro, how am I still asleep?
Then, on January 3rd, something incredible happens. Rubentus, a relatively discreet Norwegian runner who had only been around for a few months, shatters his personal best by over 2 minutes, claiming the world record. Not only did he play exceptionally well, but he also took advantage of the luck, surprising everyone by etching his name at the top of the leaderboard. Now, it's no longer a matter of recovering just 20 seconds, it's 42 seconds, complicating matters further. Meanwhile, Werster continues to face relentless challenges from the game, particularly from Faulkner and Whitney, who crush most runs that passes the Manip. The Manip which wipes out more than half of them. This continues until January 19th. He's over a minute ahead of the world record and his personal best, heading towards Victory Road, and...
So close! No! Oh, I thought that was safe, honestly.
He encounters an optional trainer that costs him a whole minute. It's devastating. After being stuck at the beginning, enduring repeated setbacks for almost a month, the best run of his life vanishes due to a mistimed move by just a few frames. And yet, he persists with the run, overcoming all the challenging obstacles in Kanto, Surge's gym, the double battle with Blossom, the challenging fights against Erica and Blue. The run reaches red with only a 4-second gap from the world record, setting the stage for an epic showdown.
That's a critical.
After 3 hours and 30 minutes, after fighting so hard to recover his run from the depths from hitting the optional trainer, a critical hit on the first turn of the final battle brings an end to this run. However, Werster is not one to be easily defeated. He returns 3 days later, embarking on another incredible run, and once again faces red.
That's a crit. You're kidding. No way! Dude! I just cannot.
And only a few days later, the incredible happens, but elsewhere. Dexy, a Japanese speedrunner, also shatters his personal best and claims the world record, improving it by around 15 seconds. Much like Rubentus, Dexy experiences quite a bit of luck throughout the run, but it's above all a very solid and well-played run with minimal major mistakes. Now, Werster finds himself nearly 1 minute behind the world record, but surprisingly, just a few days later, he reaches red within seconds of the record.
That's a critical.
Throughout all this time in these runs, alongside his struggles against Faulkner and Whitney, Werster grows weary. He begins working on what he calls battle identifiers. Battle identifiers are quite extraordinary. Essentially, battles in the game have their own set of randomness, predetermined from the moment you enter the battle. By recognizing the moment of entering the battle in the initial turns, speedrunners can predict the outcome. For example, if a critical hit occurs in the battle against Faulkner, by entering the battle at the same moment and having the same initial turns, the critical hit will consistently happen. However, it requires exploring all fighting scenarios for all the times one is supposed to enter the battle and recognizing them. Even though most of them are very similar, it takes an enormous amount of time to plan. Werster mentions spending over 1,000 hours just for Whitney and Faulkner, the only 2 battles where it's currently possible. Yet, it doesn't work every time, but he's often able to identify potential scenarios for many of them, increasing the chances of launching a successful run. On February 15th, Werster starts his stream, expressing his determination to reclaim the world record. He announces that he intends to stream longer than usual because he's leaving the next day for a month and won't be able to speedrun such an intense category away from home. However, despite his efforts, he spends a grueling 5 hours stuck at the beginning due to the RNG manip, the rival, and unfortunate battles. 5 hours of continuous resets. 5 hours of disappointment. But he perseveres. He's decided to push his luck.
Identifier Whitney, complete.
Werster reaches red with over a minute ahead of his personal best, and almost simultaneously with the current world record. He has 58 HP on Raikou, and the opposing Pikachu is about to use Quick Attack, which can deal between 42 and 62 HP. There's a good chance he might faint, but Werster doesn't care about the personal best. He decides to go all out for the world record.
Let's go. But that's a critical. Oh, you're fucking kidding me! That just took away all of the fucking time save. Do I risk this now? Oh my god. I have to. I have to risk this now. Please. Okay. Oh, yes. Come on, Venusaur. Come on, Venusaur. Just don't fucking crit Sludge Bomb. That is a Sleep Powder. He's picked Frenzy Plant. This is actually going to be really, really close. Just. Well, I feel very justified in the risk that I took. Finally.
Werster has finally managed to reclaim the world record in this intense category by a slim margin. All his immense effort has finally paid off. He said that he wanted it today and was willing to give it his all, and he got it. He can now go to various events for a month with peace of mind. However, just a few days later, after Werster spent months recovering the world record by playing for hours every day, Dexy snatched it back, beating it by 7 seconds shortly after. Werster, who had left for a month, finds himself powerless, having to run something easier at the battle factory while waiting to return home. In late March, Werster finally returns to the category, and upon his comeback, he already has a superb run where he's almost a minute ahead of the world record after Chuck. However, due to some trainers taking too long to turn and fare from optimal battles against the Kimono Girls, he loses part of his lead. Nonetheless, he's still in an excellent position at the Elite Four until Peter.
I missed the 15 in 16. Real? I missed the... Wow.
After his run, for almost a month, Werster gets crushed by the game. Either he's stuck at the beginning repeatedly, or the runs that start aren't very promising, making it difficult for him to invest himself in them. A month of such struggles feels long, and he begins losing hope. There's nothing worse for a speedrunner than feeling like they're wasting their days repeatedly restarting the game over and over. And it continues, persistently, until the memorable date of April 25th.
That's a critical. I'm dead. Oh my god. Fuck this game. Are you fucking kidding me?
Just when he was on an incredible run, on track for the first sub 330 time, Red crushes his hopes. Naturally, he's despondent after all that effort.
Seriously, like, what have I got to do? It's just so many times this has happened. It's absolutely unreal.
It's already challenging to reach Red, so getting there with such a lead and then being hit by a critical hit is disheartening, especially when it happens so frequently. However, 2 days later, Werster returns more motivated than ever. He reaches the Vermilion City gym.
What the fuck? What?
This is something I haven't mentioned yet. The trash cans in Surge's gym are a nightmare in speedrunning. They involve pure and unadulterated randomness. After 3 hours of running, the switches can be anywhere, and you just have to search the trash cans. There's a way to manipulate them as well, something Werster has attempted in his speedruns. However, it's incredibly challenging. You need to finish the league within a certain time, perform precise movements in Kanto, and even with all that, there's no guarantee that the manipulation worked. Despite the time lost, he continues the run. However, the battle against Blue becomes a disaster due to the Executor with Hypnosis and Trick Room. Trick Room causes Pokemon with higher speed to attack last, which is the case for Raikou. So, he has to delay against Executor until Trick Room finishes its 5 turns, which can lose a lot of time depending on when the Trick Room is set up. After these setbacks, he starts making some mistakes in his runs, especially in the challenging bicycle segments, just to emphasize that reaching red is already a miracle given the difficulty of the run. Yet, 2 days later, he reaches red and is about to make history.
Tell you what, just a normal, standard red, keep it nice and mild to keep in track with this mild run would be really nice. Oh my, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you! Last turn. What do we got? You're kidding. Ah, dead to poison. Unbelievable. It's just unreal. How do all of my runs die to red and nobody else's runs die to red?
Another tough disappointment to swallow. However, 3 days later, he's back in Kanto, and once again...
No!
But he doesn't stop playing. He continues and successfully performs the trash can manip, saving a lot of time. However, Blue has other plans. The next day, things get even worse.
That's a crit.
Werster keeps coming back, time and time again, with the same motivation, the same determination, and it finally seems to pay off the next day. He reaches Kanto with over a minute lead, then makes it to Surge's gym. He almost wasted time on the trash cans by choosing the wrong one, but taking half a second to think, he figured out the right one with the trash manip, and the run continues without losing any time. History repeats itself as he reaches red with over a minute lead. He just needs to beat the world record by 7 seconds, and this time he kills Pikachu without a critical hit, Snorlax without a critical hit, Lapras without a critical hit, Blastoise without a critical hit, and he soars towards the world record.
Come on. Oh, there is no fucking way in the world. There is no fucking way in the goddamn world that happened. You cannot, no. No. No way. No fucking way. I'm genuinely stunned. I cannot believe this. Again. On the very last fucking turn. On the best run I've had by miles. Like, it could genuinely take me another 6 months to get another run that good. Actually had some safety to poison. The fucker just crits. That's... no way. No way. No.
It's incredible. On the last attack of the game, just as he's about to smash the world record, Werster is just cursed, and he's had enough. So many hours spent practicing, searching to optimize an already complex route, countless hours mastering the very difficult RNG manips, even incorporating the trash manip, which is extremely tough, avoiding optional trainers. After all that, and for months, the game prevents him from reclaiming the world record that he deserves. And yet, once again, Werster comes back the very next day as if nothing happened.
You're fucking kidding. Again, it's just... how have I not beaten this shit? I just fucking cannot believe it.
It's early June. He's been running and working on optimizing the run for months without really seeing results. Another run begins. After a rough battle against Blue, he reaches Red once again.
Oh, that works.
Luck seems to be on his side, but the fight is not over.
Bro, give me a miss. Oh, sure, now you miss when it doesn't fucking matter because I have to full restore because you froze me! Hooray, I finally beat my PB. Finally got record. Not even remotely satisfied with that. But I'm glad I finally made some progress.
Finally, he did it. Even though he struggles to rejoice as he's exhausted after this insane battle against Red. But he's a bit disappointed. He missed the 330 by a few seconds. He's happy to have reclaimed the world record, but he knows it's not the end because this time is beatable. And precisely just a few days later, Dexy is about to strike again.
Crit, 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 crit. Not poison, survive. No!
The very next day, Werster is back to improve his time, and he quickly gets the opportunity. He has never been this far ahead because now the split comparison is with the world record. Now he can finally achieve his 330, but he still faces the battle against Blue and Red, which have killed so many runs until now.
This is actually pretty risky, but if I heal again, this is barely a fucking PB, honestly. That was a really high roll from that Blizzard. Pretty decent chance I just get ranged on the Sludge Bomb here. Okay. Oh my god. It's a much better time. It's a much better time. Damn, that red fight sucked though. I feel much happier having a 330. I feel much happier.
He did it. After all this indecent avalanche of bad luck. After struggling for months and months with manipulations. After introducing extremely complex mechanics like battle identifiers or the trash manip. After working so hard, Werster is finally rewarded. Werster has just achieved the first 330 in history. This run is incredible and truly represents Werster because once again, he lost almost a minute against a good fight against Red. Still, he is so skilled and played so well beforehand that even with an unlucky fight against Red, he managed to secure an outstanding time. This run represents Werster the most. He never relies on luck to achieve a good time. Where most runners would have either given up after all that bad luck or kept restarting in a loop until they got the perfect run, He found solutions to all the problems he could address, such as the fights against Whitney, Faulkner, or the rival, and even the trash cans in Surge's gym. In the end, the bad luck on Red couldn't even stop him from further solidifying his place in the game's history with the first 330 and over a minute lead on the second in the rankings. And the first thing Werster thinks about after finishing the run is this.
If that blizzard that froze me had missed, that would have been 329.
Once again, to achieve the first 329, he doesn't rely on luck. He has just planned a new route that gives him a better Raikou, what he calls the Raikou Zero, reducing the chance of dying on Red. However, this route is much more challenging than the previous one, which was already difficult. Partly thanks to this, he has set 4 new world records in a matter of weeks and is now just about 4 seconds away from the 329, which would make the world record almost unbeatable and mark another huge achievement for Werster. What's also incredible about him is that he doesn't need competition to motivate himself. Most players, once they've reclaimed the world record, experience a setback, take a break, or shift to speedrunning other games or categories. But Werster manages to stay motivated, pushing the world record further and further, consistently defying expectations. Thank you very much for watching until the end. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't hesitate to like and subscribe. It's crucial for the growth of the channel. See you soon for a new legendary speedrun. Bye.